Good evening, everyone. I'm Catherine O'Day, Executive Director of Save Our Shores, and I'm delighted to welcome you to our 4th annual and our first ever virtual Marine Protected Areas Wives and Wildlife Amateur Photo Contest exhibit and award ceremony. Since 2017, we've had the privilege of partnering with the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary Exploration Center, where we should be tonight, but can't be, to bring this event to our community, where it would be available for visitors to view for a full month. This year, however, has been a most unusual year, to say the least, and due to the global coronavirus pandemic, we're bringing you this exhibit virtually, although I've tried to create some of the atmosphere of the Exploration Center with my background. I'm also sitting here enjoying my glass of New Leaf's 35th anniversary ale and some popcorn. I hope you got out to pick up your 6-pack and some snacks to enjoy this evening. And as you know, New Leaf is donating $1 for every 6-pack sold to Save Our Shores, for which we are most grateful. So if you didn't get out and pick some up for the evening, be sure you do over the next few weeks. We're going to start off with a couple of very brief presentations, followed by a video screening of all the contest entries, our award ceremony, and an opportunity to ask our photographers a few questions. Finally, we'll wrap up the evening with a short pop quiz game to see if you can name that MPA or species that will take us to the close of the event right around 7:30. The Resource Legacy Fund has generously provided the funds we need to organize and coordinate this contest and bring the exhibit to life for the past 4 years. Without their support, none of this would be possible. I also want to give a shout out to our partners, NOAA and the Exploration Center, as well as the MPA Collaborative Network. Since tonight's event is also an award ceremony, I'd like to thank our prize donors, the Dream Inn, Santa Cruz, San Jose Camera and Video, and Ethos, formerly the Zero Store in Capitola Village.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Chelsea Prindle, and I'm the manager of the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary Exploration Center. In case you've never been here before, the Sanctuary Exploration Center is located right across the street from the Santa Cruz Wharf, with the goal of educating the public all about Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, which is actually one of the nation's largest marine protected areas. I happen to have a map behind me, so I can show you that we are located here in Santa Cruz, right at the north end of the Monterey Bay. And this red line in the ocean is the outline of Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary. So we can see that it actually extends right from the north of the San Francisco Bay at the Marin Headlands, all the way south across Monterey Bay and down to Cambria. So it's about 276 miles of coastline. It's quite large. And of course, it's a marine protected area, which means that it protects the area of ocean within its boundaries. And it does that by having certain rules and regulations. The most famous, and the one that you may be familiar with, is that there's no oil drilling allowed within Monterey Bay Sanctuary. And that's certainly a regulation that we're happy to see. Every year, the Sanctuary Exploration Center looks forward to hosting the Waves and Wildlife photo exhibit, and of course the award ceremony like tonight. The exhibit is an excellent way to connect visitors and the local community to our state marine protected areas. The exhibit not only helps inform the visitors of these amazing places, but introduces them to how these really small areas can actually help protect the diversity and the species richness, not only within Monterey Bay Sanctuary, but within the entire state of California. So I'd like to welcome you tonight. I look forward to when we can see each other in person and when you can come back and explore the Exploration Center in person again. But for tonight, I want to say congratulations to the winners, and I hope you all have a great evening.
So now we're going to hear some brief remarks about our magnificent network of marine protected areas from Nicole Palma. She is the program manager for the statewide MPA Collaborative Network. Nicole hails originally from Florida, has spent a lot of time underwater completing reef fish, benthic, and lobster surveys in the waters around South Florida, the dry tortugas, and the Bahamas. And when she's not actually underwater, she is boating, fishing, camping, diving, and otherwise exploring. Nicole has worked for various nonprofits, mainly coordinating and developing environmental science education and outreach programs. She's also a keen advocate for the use of citizen science and technology. So Nicole, please talk to us about our MPA network.
Sure, thanks for that great introduction, Catherine. So in general, marine protected areas, also known as MPAs, are areas of marine or coastal waters that can include estuaries that have been set aside and designated by law or administrative action to protect or conserve marine life and habitat. The goal is to protect whole ecosystems and not just one particular species. There are many different types of marine protected areas around the globe. They're kind of like state or national parks, but underwater. In 2012, California finalized the nation's first statewide science-based network of MPAs. And it is the largest ecologically connected network of MPAs in the world. So we have 124 marine protected areas that are state California MPAs along the coast. We also have some federal MPAs, which we know as our sanctuaries, like the Monterey Bay Sanctuary. So these network of state MPAs, 124 of them, they protect about 16% of state waters, and 9% of that is fully protected under state marine reserves. So there are different levels of protection within the state MPAs. Some don't allow any take or extraction of a resource at all, but they do allow people to visit and explore and enjoy. So they welcome people to go and hang out at the beach. You can dive, surf, bird watch, anything that you'd like, host a beach cleanup. They are open for recreation, education, and research. They just limit those extractive take of resources commercially or recreationally. But because they have different levels of protection, there are some MPAs in California that do allow specific take of certain species by certain methods. And those differ depending on which MPA you're in. So it's important to check the regulations and know before you go to make sure you are following the rules and helping to protect our awesome ecosystems we have in California. Everything from kelp forests to submarine canyons to eelgrass beds, rocky reefs, tide pools, all the great things that we have here. So this MPA network was planned regionally over a period of 13 years. And it included input from conservationists, fishermen and women, tribes, agency representatives, scientists, nonprofits, and others. So it was a really stakeholder-driven process. To continue this important and necessary stakeholder involvement in the actual implementation and management of the MPAs after they were established in 2012, the Collaborative Network was born. So the MPA Collaborative Network, that's who I work for, is an umbrella organization that supports and coordinates the activities of 14 coastal county-based volunteer stakeholder groups. So these groups are basically roughly aligned with coastal county lines. We have a Santa Cruz MPA Collaborative, which we'll hear a little bit more about, Monterey, all the way from Del Norte to San Diego. We have a collaborative for those regions. And the goal is really just to bring different stakeholders together and have everyone around the table in order to discuss, share resources, information, everything related to MPA management, and is also open to other ocean and coastal issues as well. So the collaboratives also carry out projects that answer local needs. So for example, Save Our Shores and the Waves and Wildlife Photo Contest is a very successful model, and it is beloved by other collaboratives as well. So we have been working to kind of copy the model of Waves and Wildlife in other regions and create really cool photo displays that show off all of our beautiful marine protected areas with tidbits of information. They look kind of like what Catherine has behind her on her image that we would normally see, those really cool displays that show the winning photos in other regions. So it's really exciting. That's one benefit. Yeah, just like those. We're turning them into stand-up banners that the collaboratives can use with those locally relevant images and information for outreach. And that's one of the benefits of the collaborative network, is being able to share not only within your community, your local collaborative, but then the collaborative network works to help coordinate between all of the 14 different groups, sharing resources and information, learning from each other, and getting the best bang for our buck and our effort. And then also helping to interface with the state managing agencies. So for example, coming up on next Wednesday, the 5th, from 5 to 7, yes, 5 to 7, the Santa Cruz Collaborative and the Collaborative Network are hosting a MPA Community Compliance Forum. This is something we're doing in each collaborative. It's funded by the state. We're doing it in partnership with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. And it's really just a listening session to hear from you guys, the community, what's happening in your MPAs, on your beaches. What are your concerns? What are you seeing? Is it poaching, litter, dogs off leash? Any concern you have, we want to hear about it. And then there's actually funding available to the Santa Cruz Collaborative to take the concerns that are brought up at the forum with suggested ideas and solutions. So if you have a great idea, let us know at the forum, and we might be able to fund it and get some great projects and products going in your area. So we'll send out information about that so you can register. And everyone is welcome to join their collaborative and get involved. So we'd love to have you all there and help contribute to natural resource management at the local level. And we'll hear more about the Santa Cruz Collaborative in a bit from our wonderful co-chairs. But first, we are going to watch the video exhibit for Waves and Wildlife. Thank you.
Each year, Save Our Shores hosts Waves and Wildlife, an amateur photo and video contest to highlight the beauty and biodiversity of our region's spectacular marine protected areas, while raising awareness about the role they play in safeguarding and regenerating our ocean and climate. Marine protected areas, or MPAs, are portions of our ocean and estuaries that are sheltered from certain kinds of human disturbance. From rocky intertidal zones to lush kelp forests, MPAs include a wide range of ocean habitats along our coastlines. These protected parts of the ocean and shorelines help conserve and restore wildlife and habitats of the sea, much like state and national parks do for land. MPAs protect critical habitats and improve the sustainability of fisheries. There are two kinds of MPAs: state marine reserves and state marine conservation areas. These types of areas provide different amounts and kinds of protection. By protecting entire ecosystems rather than focusing on a single species, MPAs contribute to healthier, more resilient ocean ecosystems that can better withstand a wide range of impacts, such as pollution and climate change. The Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary includes 20 marine protected areas. We're excited to have 13 of these MPAs represented in Waves and Wildlife 2020. Thank you to all of our amazing photographers and videographers, and to our annual Waves and Wildlife sponsor, Resource Legacy Fund, and to this year's prize donors, Dream in Santa Cruz, San Jose Camera and Video, and Ethos Santa Cruz. Thanks also to our partners, the MPA Collaborative Network and Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary Exploration Center. Enjoy.
The Monterey Bay is jam-packed full of life, mesmerizing and magnificent, vivacious and vibrant. By day or night, there are wonders to be seen. Whether it be vertebrates or invertebrates, these creatures are worth protecting.
see it.
Wow, that was so amazing. It's just absolutely incredible how wonderfully our contest participants have captured so many aspects of our MPAs while also demonstrating some amazing photographic and videographic skills. You can be sure it was a really tough job for our judges to pick the winners, but indeed they did pick some winners and also some honorable mentions. So to present our award winners, I'd like to introduce the co-chairs of our Santa Cruz Marine Protective Collaborative, our own local collaborative, Lisa Utah, who's also employed by NOAA as an education and outreach specialist for the sanctuary, and Nicole Crane, who is also a biology instructor at Cabrillo College. Nicole and Lisa, will you speak briefly about our local collaborative and then introduce our presenters?
Sure, I'll start and let Lisa fill in the important parts. Welcome everybody. I really want to say thank you to those of you that submitted such wonderful art, for your ability to inspire emotion, appreciation, and care for our marine protected areas. Really amazing, and I want to thank you for that. Your art has brought a lot to you, I'm sure, but also to those of us that get to see it. The Marine Protected Area Collaborative, as Nicole Palma told you, is a mechanism to involve as many people as possible in not only the management of our marine protected areas, but also in the education and dissemination of information about them. So all of us really are part of the management of those marine protected areas. And that's really important, and it's really the mission of the Marine Protected Area Collaborative. So for example, at the Santa Cruz Collaborative, we have regular meetings, generally 4 times a year. We try to involve as many people as possible. We have, in particular, lately tried to more closely involve the Amamutsin tribal band and other tribal members into our collaborative, as well as fisher people. So everybody to help us disseminate the information, as well as bring forward voices about management. So for example, we've worked with the Santa Cruz Children's Museum of Natural Discovery to integrate interactive multimedia exhibits. We've worked with Natural Bridges State Park on the development of a mobile cart for educational materials. We've also worked on the development of a mobile app, the Mobile Ranger, to help visitors understand different aspects of the marine protected areas here in Santa Cruz, and various other MPA outreach toolkits. So a lot of it is education oriented, but we also work with the enforcement folks, as Nicole mentioned, the enforcement forum that's coming up. So we want to get as many people as possible involved. We also have research, we give research talks at our meetings to try to bring the marine protected areas in Santa Cruz to the people of Santa Cruz, but also most importantly, to get the voices of the people of Santa Cruz to the marine protected area management, education, and outreach teams. Lisa.
Great, thanks, Nicole. This is so fantastic, you guys. That art and all those photos and video just really moved me. On behalf of Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, who I'm part of, and with Nicole as a co-chair of the Santa Cruz MPA collaboratives, it's really exciting for us to be able to work with Save Our Shores and the MPA collaborative and bring the community together in one place. So the collaborative really provides a forum for everyone meeting together and talking about whether it be their issues or it be their education programs, and how we as a single voice can move forward in protecting these incredible ecosystems. And I really encourage all of you to take part in the forum next week, which is really a place where we can just have the discussion, talk about the kinds of things that we're seeing that are really impacting our sanctuaries and our MPAs. So encourage you to come. I'm really excited today because Nicole and I were able to announce the winners, and there's just so much to see. So with that, I think what I'll do is I'll just start off, and we're going to start off with our video contest winner. And so with that, the winner of this particular area is someone who, when they were about 3 years old, were taken into the tide pools by their parents. And their parents recently had bought them an ROV, and that ROV was a birthday present. And ever since then, this person started a YouTube channel where they are sharing their footage with other people. So you don't have to live on the coast. You don't have to dive down under the water. You can actually see now with the incredible technology how incredible our marine protected areas are underwater. This person is Connor McLean. And Connor, if I could ask you to say a few words, and we'd love to show a 3 minutes of your video.
Oh, there it goes. It's working. Wow. Thank you so much for this great, this great prize of me winning. Really do appreciate this. You know what? A lot of time actually went into filming stuff, and it was like, you know, there were like kind of 2 people behind the scenes, like my mother over here. Yeah, she wore like a wetsuit. She wore a wetsuit, and we drove there at like 6 o'clock every day, and she wore a wetsuit, really? Walked into the water and launched it out like beyond the tides, and my dad held the cable to like let it out because this thing needs like a cable. But yeah, anyway, so a lot of work went into like editing and stuff like that, and yeah, Oh wow, kind of. We also did like, if anyone's interested in like where we did our filming or anything, it's Ed Ricketts Marine Reserve, which is nearby Lover's Point. But yeah, that I don't really, yeah, I don't have any other words for this, but it's
Oh,
amazing. For,
It's so
for this.
exciting because we notice so many people get excited when you're out filming and want to come and see what you're doing. So it's great that we
Yeah.
can share
Yeah, and
online.
as soon as I got that gift, I was like, I need to make a YouTube channel. I got to get out that video footage and have other people just enjoy it. And yeah, so I think that's my time. But yeah.
I also want to just say congratulations, Connor. And I know that you all as a family worked so hard on those videos. And I know there was a lot of late nights involved. So congratulations.
And early mornings.
Yeah.
yeah, good job, Connor. And
Yeah, thank you.
we're going to show your video now.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
The Monterey Bay draws tourists from all around the world. But there is another world, one which few people get to see. Join us as we explore beneath the bay. Filming with an ROV takes a team of a pilot, a cable guy, and a launcher. The first thing we encountered was this tube anemone. It traps food with its stinging tentacles. The white sand dollars we see on the beach are just skeletons of a much more colorful animal. When we arrived at the kelp forest, we met our first fish. The lights of the ROV didn't seem to disturb them. Scuba divers remove any man-made waste they find, but some, like this sunken boat, is too large to remove. The Dungeness crab has claimed it for now. He seemed attracted to our lights. The Metridium anemones are a popular sight with scuba divers. These mesmerizing animals are deadly to the zooplankton upon which they feed. Despite the pristine appearance of these waters, evidence of human exploitation still lingers. This pipeline used to service the historical Monterey sardine cannery. Overfishing caused it to close in 1973. We nearly missed this sea hare grazing upon the surface. This gumshoe chiton was equally well hidden. The sea pen is hard to miss as it feeds. This purple sponge was also hard to miss. Now our ROV has come full circle, ready to return to shore. Until next time.
Thank you, Connor. That's great. Nicole?
Sorry, it's my pleasure to introduce our third place winner, whose pictures you saw flashing around in the first set, John Anderson. John is a robotics engineer, and he loves photographing the beauty of our coastal environments all around the world. However, he especially loves the vibrant cold water reefs right here in Monterey Bay and in the marine protected areas along our coast. He aspires and hopes that his images can help paint a picture of the beauty in our local waters and our marine protected areas, which they clearly do. So thank you so much, John, for that. And to ensure that those waters are protected and sustained into the future. And in particular, with travel restrictions upon us in 2020, John's reconnected with a lot of our local MPAs from where you'll see the pictures presenting tonight. So thank you so much, John. John, if you'd like to come and say a few words about your picture. Hi, John.
Yeah, so this one I actually took pretty recently. Kind of near like Otter Cove, Lover's Point area. And there are a bunch of harbor seals sleeping on these rocks. And I quietly and carefully got down to the beach there, and this one woke up and yawned as he looked at me. So I was like really pretty happy to capture that as he was yawning. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of, a lot of my pictures are underwater, and that's kind of been most of my focus until the last couple of years. But recently I've been doing more of a mixture of above water and below water to really tell the whole story of those ecosystems rather than just the underwater portion.
Thank you so much, John. And you do a wonderful job of doing that. And Lisa, back to you.
Yeah, we'd like to announce the second place photo, and this person enjoys saltwater therapy like we all do. Getting in the ocean is so therapeutic. And this person is a recent graduate of CSU Monterey Bay, and they found that they've been exploring themselves, running around in beautiful places and going underwater, and with that, they always had their camera in hand. So, and what really called to this person was that they had the waves in Monterey Bay that always called to them. And with that, I'd like to announce that Derek Troxel is the second place winner in the photo contest, as well as was the audience choice.
Oh,
Derek, are you
thank you
here?
all. I am here. Hi.
Hi, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so as you mentioned, most of my photography is usually above water. So I can't explain it other than saltwater therapy. I mean, that's just the best way I've come to describe it over the years. It's just the best way in these crazy times, whether it be with all of the stuff on the news or like over the years, my stress that I've built up throughout going to CSUMB. It's just been a great way to just kind of forget it all and really just kind of immerse yourself in the beauty of the bay. So the majority of my photography is always, well, I should say it's always done over at Carmel Beach, while the other beaches all throughout the bay are just absolutely stunning. I've always found that just the crystal clear waters of Carmel, the ever-changing scenes, whether it be sunrise, sunset, it just is unlike any other here in the bay. So that place truly has my heart. So yeah, I do appreciate it. Thank you all.
Yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations. And it's my honor to announce our first place winner, and that's Phil Lemley. Phil has worked and was initially inspired and first discovered the beauty of the MPAs while working at a place that is very dear to my heart, which is the Catalina Island Marine Institute, because I also got my start there. He really appreciates and loves snorkeling and diving at the same spots over and over again, which I think is something that many people would really benefit from discovering. And to find something new there every time he dives. I don't know if you guys have all seen My Octopus Teacher, but something like that. And he finds photography as a wonderful outlet and an opportunity to share his love for, in his words, for sweet, sweet Mama Ocean. Thank you, Phil. You want to say a few words about your picture?
Yeah, first off, thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, that kind of summary pretty much explained my love for this area. I mean, between just going out all the time for ocean therapy, saltwater therapy, there's also just a great group of people. I actually recognize a lot of people that are here right now. So you'll hear someone say, you know, for that picture, oh, like there's a cabezon guarding some eggs at breakwater right now, or, you know, there's sardines at monastery, and, you know, it's everyone going out to explore and see what you find. And sometimes you find what you're looking for, and sometimes you find something else, but it's it keeps me going out to the same spots again and again and again. And I'm always surprised and opening up a Nudibranch book, trying to figure out what I saw, or asking someone questions. So it's an awesome place.
Thank you so much, Bill. And to all of you, I concur with Catherine. It was an unbelievable set of photographs and videos and documentation of our amazing marine protected areas. So as difficult as it was, you all really deserve first places. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what we call art, and art in motion as well. So many of it is captured, just the real feeling of the ocean, that if you hadn't been there or you haven't been this up close to something, it's really wonderful. So congratulations, everyone. We're going to go ahead and go into some of the honorable mentions right now, and we're going to go through all of those. You want to start it off, Nicole?
Yeah, oh, here we go. Honorable mention, oops. Let's go to is that the first one? Okay, coronavirus sea slug, of course, at Ed Ricketts SMCA by Bruce Sudweeks. Thank you, Bruce.
Definitely looks like it. Next one is Fanfare for the Common Fish by Nathan Coy at the Edward F. Ricketts SMCA.
And Ochre Star and Friends at Natural Bridges SMR by Krista Rogers.
And Octo Cameo at Ed Ricketts SMCA by Bruce Sudweeks.
Great Egret with Fish, love this picture, at Natural Bridges SMR by John Welch.
Sunset, or rather fog set, with waves and a bird at Asilomar SMR by Phil Lemley.
Anemone Close-Up at Asilomar SMR by Morgan McIsaac.
Cathedral of Kelp at Carmel Bay, SMCA by John Anderson.
Point Lobos SMR and SMCA by Cameron Strickland. Hopkins Rose.
Oh, beautiful. Abstract capture of Hermesenda opalescens at Ed Ricketts SMCA by Cameron Strickland.
Pelican Taking Off Over Sea Foam at Natural Bridges SMR by Linda Huffman.
All I can say again is wow. It's just so absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
As you can see, it was really difficult for judges to select only 3 people who could win a photo prize in one video, but everybody who contributed, it's just so amazing. And we're so appreciative of your willingness to get out there and enjoy these incredible underwater parks, take these incredible, phenomenal pictures. And really all of you are winners, because we use these photos all the time. I mean, with your permission, we'll use these in our newsletters, on our website, in our blast emails, in our social media posts. So all of you, we say thank you to, because you provide us this gorgeous beauty that we can then share with all of our constituents and, you know, basically the world, anyone who turns on to our website or tunes into our social media. So I want to just, again, thank you. And
we have a question for Connor. Nicole Palma would like to know, Connor, what type of ROV did you use? Yeah.
Okay, cool. So basically, this is a Triton ROV. This is like the entire thing here. So it's got like a motor here, 2 motors there. It's simple, kind of. And it's got like a little camera here. And this is basically what I used. So yeah, it's just Triton.
Excellent. Thank you.
I just have a sort of a general question for anyone that's interested in popping in. I'm curious, A, how often you make it out there? B, whether, you know, the COVID situation has helped or harmed your ability to get out there and have a good time with the photography and stuff like that. And then C, if, you know, if there, and a few of the winners already spoke to this, but if anyone that hasn't had a chance yet to speak wants to just say anything about how you think it sort of maybe helps your psychology in this strange moment that we're living through to have this sort of outlet. These are just sort of general. Feel free to chime in if you're inspired.
I think they kind of go hand in hand with COVID nowadays and helping to create content. I know myself personally, I'm out there on a daily basis. Every day after work, it's a matter of, okay, got stress from work, got stress from COVID, not being able to see my friends as often as I used to. Go out and enjoy the waters, and I think the same can go for a lot of us. Or if you're not in the water, then enjoy just the beauty of the bay. But I think the one positive aspect of all of this is that it kind of has inspired us to go out a little more and enjoy maybe what we took for granted once. So
Anyone
Yeah,
else have
I
comments?
think something to add, like for diving, like getting ready to dive with someone else, you obviously have to use some precautions and stay 6 feet apart and that. But once you're in the water, it's kind of inherently like a COVID safe activity because you're breathing from your own air source. So at first things definitely slowed down, and like the beaches had different rules and like it wasn't clear whether you could dive or not. But I think people have gotten back into it, and I would say that the main trend I've noticed is I've never seen the parking lots as busy and as many divers going into the fall as I have this year. So I think there's a lot of people learning to dive, and there's a lot of people who are diving because it is an activity that's relatively safe to do.
Well, for me, photography is definitely been an absolute lifesaver during this time. It's been my source of joy and companionship. And I also want to say how much I appreciate the work of Save Our Shores, going all the way back to the time of Dan Hafley and the fight against oil drilling on this coast. I had the pleasure of doing Dan Hafley's oral history as part of my work at UCSC. So I don't take what we have here for granted, and I really appreciate the work you all are doing. Thank you.
Thanks, Irene.
So now Irene, I think, was our first grand prize winner back in 2017. Isn't that right, Irene?
Yes, that was
Wonderful photograph we used on our annual report.
Thank you.
Great. Well, we have another question, a few more questions. Our next question is, when you're photographing wildlife, do you have any tips for getting a good shot without disturbing the animal? And I just want to give a shout out. I can't remember which photographer it was. Someone submitted a photo that was actually taken through binoculars of a harbor seal pup. And that was so awesome to me because it really showed responsible wildlife viewing. They didn't disturb the animal at all, but they were still able to catch a shot of the animal. So anyone want to chime in there, and how do you get a good shot of something without disturbing it?
I have found slow is pro. I mean, there's some things that don't have a choice, like nudibranchs, and you have all the time in the world, but harbor seals and ocean sunfish and some of those larger charismatic animals, I've found if you don't go charging at them and hope, just kind of waiting and watching them, it's a lot. And same with even a lot of the rockfish and, things that have the choice to swim away from you. If you just really kind of ease into them, don't start firing a million photos right away. Usually that seems to be a good practice. And, a lot of times you don't get a great photo. So just keep going out again and again and again, and only show people the 4 that worked.
I actually have kind of a follow-up to that question. Specifically, I'm going to direct it to Irene and Emily, both of whom caught some very intimate photos of mamas just giving birth that really spoke to me as a mama who could feel that shared mammal motherhood. And so I'm just, if you could speak maybe to those specific photos with the same sort of question.
Yeah, so for me, it's really important to have a long lens. The photo was taken at San Simeon, so you're behind a fence and there's definitely some space. So I would never get super, super close to a mama giving birth, or to any elephant seal for that matter, because of the Marine Mammal Protection Act, but also because I just want to, respect them. But that was such an elemental moment. And it was actually my photo friend who was with me who called my attention to what was happening. I was facing the other way and she's like, oh my God. So it was just an incredible privilege to be able to photograph that moment. But again, it was done with a 600 millimeter lens. So I was a good distance away.
Yeah, just to kind of echo that, I use a 400 millimeter, so also trying to just steer really clear, especially if it's a mom and pup, because easily that could, you could really disrupt what's going on there, and the mom could easily get really defensive and upset, and then might use unnecessary energy to try to get her pup away from you, which would be really detrimental to both mom and baby. I've captured a few images of sea otter moms with their pups and elephant seals with newborns. And I've never seen a live birth, so I'm jealous, Irene. The photo that you got was really incredible. I've seen some baby newborns, but not that, not that fresh. But I just really love witnessing the connection and the different ways that different species raise their young is really interesting to me. Elephant seals will stay with their babies for a few weeks, a few months, and then, they lose a ton of weight in that time and have to go back into the ocean. So they leave the pup on the beach and it just kind of fends for itself. It's got to learn how to swim, how to eat, where's it supposed to go, has to learn all these things on its own. But compare that to the relationship between a sea otter and her pup. They stick together for sometimes over a year. And she shows that baby how to do everything from clean itself to eat, where the good spots are to find food, and how to avoid dangers. And it's just a much different bond, but it's really always awesome to see the connection between the two and just kind of be a witness to that.
And just staying for one more minute on this topic, and I'm sorry as a mom, it's like dear to my heart, but Wei, and tell me if I'm first please correct me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but you also took a beautiful photo. The snuggle is real, and it's a mama sea otter and her little cub, and my 9-year-old and I spent a while looking at that this afternoon, kind of jealous of how much fun they seem to be having. So yeah, if you want to speak about that photo. And then also your other photo that you submitted, I was trying to figure that out. Is it a whale tail?
I think it's a flipper.
Yeah, it's a tail.
Oh.
Yeah, just as it's going back under the water. So yeah, the otters were, just kind of hanging out in some kelp, rented with my family one of those 4-person boats. that you can get off the wharf and just kind of puttered around in that. And then we just happened to look over and there they were, just kind of cuddling. So yeah, not very exciting story, but that's kind of what happened. So.
And the photo that Gail's describing is actually your background too, I see.
Oh,
little
Yeah, he just looks so happy. Yeah.
Excellent. Great. We had another question. How do you choose which photo or photos to submit? I'm sure many of you all take lots of really amazing photos. So how do you pick? Which ones are your favorite?
I think what's important is that they have emotional content. It's something that you can connect with. I mean, I'm not an underwater person at all. I totally admire all the people who did underwater photos. I mean, for me, connecting with the birds or connecting with the mammals that I photograph, and then being able to communicate that connection with the person who's looking at the photo. And sometimes I look at a photo and go, well, that's really beautiful, but there's not that emotional kind of content to it. And then some sort of technical. I mean, obviously it has to meet good standards of photography as well.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd also think, half the photos that I think all of us take, is Phil, you kind of touched on, we take 1,000 shots and come out with 4. But of those, I think the story behind those, if the rest of the 900 some odd photos we have are just so blurry, but even if we don't come out with a single shot, there's been plenty of sessions where I don't have a single thing to show for it, but of those 900 blurry images we have, the story behind them I think is equally as exciting, and that's something to hang on to, even though it won't count as Irene, you said, maybe a shot you'd be inclined to hang on your wall. Still something to keep there in the files for later on, just to look back on, and just remember that time. So
yeah,
I think another aspect that I thought about this year when submitting is there's a lot of MPAs, and so I tried to look through and kind of pick my favorite from each of them. So I was submitting a set from all of them, rather than like a lot of the divers will know there's like 2 or 3 of them where we dive all the time, and the rest of them we may not have any or very many photos from. So I actually tried to look through what I had and find like a wide variety from all the different ones I'd been to.
I have kind of a technical question for specifically for Bruce and Phil, and there may be some, I think you guys mostly did the dual image, right? Where you've got something really in focus underwater and then something really in focus above the water, and it's sometimes obvious and sometimes it almost looks like it might be. I'm just curious, is that a special lens, or how do you do that? Because those are some pretty fabulous photos.
Yeah, so I guess the big thing is having a big wide dome port over your lens that'll actually kind of split the water and the land, and then it's a lot of, I guess, patience and trying to get lighting right underwater, because usually you'll get a lot more light above and have to use artificial light below. So it's a lot of just moving and tweaking. But the big thing's the big dome port over the lens that separates the water and above. So just hitting that sweet spot right in between.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing to that. I agree with what you're saying. The lens you need to have like a really small, I use like an 8mm lens, fisheye lens, with that dome port, and those pictures they're not photoshopped at all. Those are fairly accurate pictures, I think. So it's not like 2 pictures kind of like blended together or something.
Wow, that's amazing. We were wondering because we were like, wow, some of the pictures with such a beautiful landscape above and the jellies below, or the sea lions above and jellies below. And we're like, that's so incredible to even see that. I don't dive, but so incredible to even see that, and then to capture it too and be able to share with others. Is very, very cool.
Yeah, it's pretty magical sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, and one other thing I was going to mention is I'm actually in my car on my way home from diving. I went out diving today.
Excellent.
Any good shots?
I did. I got some nice shots.
Nice.
Thanks for joining us, even though you're on the move.
Yeah, awesome. So Cameron, I have a quick question for you. I'm looking at your whole spread of entries here, and they are also beautiful. I mean, we were blown away in general by all of the entries this year, just such amazing stuff. And you also, I know John spoke to having mostly been doing underwater stuff and now kind of coming up, and you seem to have predominantly underwater images as well. I do actually really love your dragged sunset. To me, that, you know, as a painter, that I'm wondering, do you also paint, and where are you in terms of underwater and this sort of kind of artistic feel that you're doing above the water? Is that something you're doing much of these days?
Yeah, thank you. That was a sort of a shot I included at the very end. I was also looking through the MPAs that I had shot and realized that that would be kind of a cool submission for, you know, not Monastery Beach, which I think a lot of people, we all have a lot of monastery shots. And the answer to that is no. I'm a terrible sketcher, painter, drawer. That's why I do photography. But yeah, I really like to do some of those kind of like fun, you know, not technically perfect, as sharp as you can get pictures. Usually once you get the one shot you kind of wanted out of the day. So yeah, that was just a fun shot I did kind of at the end of like a tide pool sunset shoot. Just decided to use a really slow shutter speed and kind of like pan the sunset of a Silmar.
Nice, thanks, Cameron. Kathy, I'm also looking at your photos, and you too have a painterly quality, I think, to your photography. Do you do any painting in addition to photography? You're on mute.
Exit. There. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
No, I don't paint, but I just wanted to say that I really appreciate the work that Save Our Shores does, and I love to participate in the beach cleanups. And this is the second year I've participated in the photo contest, and it's inspired me to go and take some classes and get better. So I just wanted to, it's kind of a privilege to be among you guys that go underwater and everything, because you're fantastic.
Wow. Well, in general, we were just completely grateful for all of the amazing work submitted this year. It was fabulous, and thank you everybody for that. And we do, if you'd like to stick around, we won't keep you for too much longer, but we have pulled out 5 of the images, and Krista and Emily have some fun, have a little pop quiz. So if anybody, we'll see if you were paying attention earlier, and if you just for fun, little trivia sort of pop quiz, kind of name that MPA/creature. But I'm gonna give it over with that to Krista, and I'm gonna share my screen one last time.
Thank you, Gail. Hello, everyone. While Gail is getting up the picture, we're gonna test your knowledge just for fun. So if you want to use the chat or unmute yourself, we're gonna try and see if you can guess what MPA the picture is from, or if it's an animal, what type of animal it is. But first, I would like to give a shout out to John Anderson for my beautiful background. This was a photo he submitted last year in Waves and Wildlife, and I love using it with my students that I work with. They really get a kick out of it when they see it because it looks like I'm under the ocean. So as Gail's going through the slides.
All right.
Okay, so this one we would like to see if you can guess what is the name of this marine protected area where this photo was taken. And you can put that in the chat.
Point Lobos, maybe?
Connor thinks Point Lobos. Any other ideas?
You can also just unmute and chime in. And if you are one of the photographers that submitted photos from this MPA, it'd be nice for you to recuse yourself. Actually, if you are the photo in any of these images, it'd be good to recuse.
You have Soquel Canyon, Moss Landing, and the canyon, Catherine.
Yes, so thank you for guessing. This is the Soquel Canyon State Marine Conservation Area. And I like to highlight this one because it's way out in the middle of the Monterey Bay, and it's over a channel of the Monterey Submarine Canyon. And it's super important area for foraging whales, marine mammals, and seabirds. And not a lot of people know that there is this huge area out in the middle of the bay that is a marine protected area. All right, next photo. This is one of my favorite creatures. Oh, too fast. So we want to see if you can name that animal. So what is this little creature?
Melody.
Underwater Venus flytrap.
It does look like a underwater Venus flytrap. Any other guesses?
We have another guess of a Melody.
Excellent. You all know your stuff. This is a Melody. It is a nudibranch, and they are super unique because instead of having a little radula to scrape algae, they have this hood that catches food out in the water. And a fun fact about Melody is they actually secrete a smell. So in their slug slime, it smells like watermelon. And so to me, I find that really appealing, but supposedly the predators of Melody do not like fruity scents.
So Krista, to me, the Melodies smell like lemons.
Oh, like lemons.
That could be a perception thing, but.
It is, yes. I was lucky enough to hold one at one point in my life, and it smelled like fruit punch to me, but others say it's like watermelon. But yeah, it must depend on your particular sense. All right, next photo, Gail. This one's a little tricky, but we want you to try and guess the MPA. So which MPA is this photo taken at?
Gibson Beach.
Oh, good guess.
Big Creek.
Big Creek.
Is another guess.
All right, final call. Anyone else have an idea?
Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary. That's an MPA too.
That's cheating.
Well, Connor, I don't
part
know
of the
if it-
Silmar.
Oh, thank you. I don't know if Gibson Beach is in this MPA, so shame on me. But this is a beautiful photo taken at Point Lobos, which is part of 2 MPAs. They are a state marine reserve and they are a state marine conservation area. And a fun fact about Point Lobos.
Wait a second, isn't Gibson Beach in Point Lobos?
It may be. That's why I said I don't know where Gibson Beach is.
Okay, now I get it.
So it could be, you were correct. But the Point Lobos is actually the first marine reserve in the whole United States. It was established way back in 1960. So it's a very special place that we are lucky to have access to here in the Monterey Bay.
Yeah, I just checked. Gibson Beach is in Point Lobos. It's the southernmost part of Point Lobos.
Excellent. Good job.
Bravo, Connor.
I was inspired by the last trivia question to change my background to a Mellowbee.
Mellowbee.
It's pretty funny.
I'm in awe of your Zoom prowess, Emily.
Well, we do spend a lot of time here, don't we?
A lot.
All right, Gail, you can go to the next photo. This is one of my favorites, but I wanted to highlight this animal to see if we have any marine mammal enthusiasts out there that can name that animal. Dolphin does not count. Anybody have a guess? I know there's a lot of dolphins.
Common dolphin?
Is it a Pacific white-sided?
Oh, I heard common dolphin or Pacific white-sided. Any other guesses?
Pacific white-sided is my guess.
Oh, sorry. Striped dolphin.
Striped dolphin. Thank you all for guessing. I don't know who said it, but one of you was correct. This is a Pacific white-sided dolphin. And these are amazing dolphins. They're usually out in the open part of our Monterey Bay, but they're really unique by those white patches that they have on the sides as well as on their dorsal fin. And you can tell the Pacific white-sided dolphin because they have this black line that goes from their jaw down the side of their body. And that's unique to the Pacific white-sided dolphin. All right, we have one more fun little trivia question for you all. And this was taken by our very own Emily Pomeroy. And we want to see if you can guess, not what the animal is, because it's kind of obvious for most of us, I think, but what is this animal doing? So this is an elephant seal on the beach, surrounded by a whole bunch of seabirds. And we want to see if you know what this elephant seal is doing. Why is it screaming at the sky?
Mating call?
Mating call?
It's a female elephant seal trying to ward off probably males that I think doesn't want around, but that's what I've heard out there.
Screaming at all those males. Awesome. What Stacy says, birthing. Anyone else have a final guess? Okay, well, I'm going to turn it over to Emily since she took this photo. She can tell us what's happening here.
Yeah, so I took this photo at Año Nuevo last year, and I'm so sad. I just found out last night that they're not opening up guided elephant seal tours this year. I was crushed last night. I actually started tearing up, and my partner was making fun of me, but I've gone every year since moving to California, and it's like my highlight of the year. But northern elephant seals have such an incredible life history. They spend lots of time in the deep, deep ocean and then come on shore just a few months out of the year. And December through March is their breeding season. So the really big males come and the females come and haul out on the beach. Año Nuevo is one of the few places where they haul out. Also Piedras Blancas down near San Simeon. And the females will give birth within a few days of arriving on shore. And then shortly after that will mate again. And then a few months later, they go back out to the ocean. 9 months later, they come back and give birth and do it all over. So it's kind of incredible. And this particular female really caught our attention last year because, as you can see, she's quite large, which means she has not been on shore for very long. And she was really ready to give birth. So she started wiggling around, writhing around, vocalizing, and I had never known this before, but our tour guide shared with us that these seabirds were all kind of gathered around her, and once she started wiggling, they all took flight and got very excited because they actually will eat the afterbirth once she does give birth. So they get a little snack. She gives birth to a pup, and it was quite the commotion to see on the beach. She didn't end up giving birth while we were there, which was a little disappointing, but just to see it all kind of and hear their life history was really incredible. So felt very lucky to be there.
Thank you, Emily. So yes, Stacy, you guessed correctly. That is an elephant seal giving birth. Now that's it for our trivia night.
Just curious, Irene, since you have the photo of the afterbirth, can you confirm the theory about the birds in the afterbirth?
Oh yeah,
Is that a
there
theory?
were tons of dolls hanging around because that wasn't the only elephant seal giving birth. And I'm sorry, what was it? Piedras Blancas. I said San Simeon earlier. But yeah, it was absolutely filled with seagulls feasting away. So nice shot. Yeah.
Well, that wraps up our evening. I hope you all had a lovely and enjoyable time with us this evening, and that you actually learned something about our MPAs at the same time. I get so blown away by the wonderful photographs that we get every year. They're so beautiful, they're so colorful, they're so well composed. This has become my favorite event, my favorite programmatic event of the year that Save Our Shores does. So I'm already looking forward to the next one. I hope all of you wonderful photographers will send in some new shots that you've taken. Get out there and take some beautiful additional new ones. Enjoy these underwater parks. Tell people about them. Get other people out there and enthusiastic about our MPAs. And I just want to say, we will be doing this again. So I've already invited you all to participate. We are confirmed for sure to be doing it again in 2021. Thanks again to our sponsor, Resource Legacy Fund. So again, have a wonderful evening. Thank you for sharing your talent, your eye for beauty, and for enjoying our Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary and these incredible MPAs that we have all up and down our coast.